Welcome back to my Black Vampire series. Today we'll be discussing Claudia from the Interview of a Vampire. And we're not talking Kirsten Dunst. No shade. So season 1 started with Bailey Bass being Claudia. I feel like she did an amazing job. Well, both actresses did an amazing job. I'm not going to really compare them. More of a contrast because Bailey did her thing as well as Delaney did her thing. So let's just get into it. So Claudia was born in 1903 in New Orleans, Louisiana. So if you don't know and haven't watched the show, how she actually got turned was she was in her house and it was on fire. She was this close to being unalived, y'all. Louis came in and saved the day, of course. He asked Lestat to change her into vampire even though it was against their law. Lestat loved him, so he did it anyway. Even though Louis could have took her to the hospital and potentially saved her real life, even Claudia asked that at some point in the series. So I thought that was a little weird, but yeah. I think the writers just wanted to show his intense need to be around other people and just intense need for like family since he lost his, you know? So now he got one, a trio of family. And they're immortals, so they're together forever. So Claudia was very much like a badass child the first season. She's very childish and like in a good way. She wasn't evil or had like adult behavior. She's very much still a child that was turned and just still trying to figure out vampirism. But when she did figure out what was going on, it was like, hey, this ain't gonna work out for me. Are we gonna change something or I'm gonna handle it myself? I think Bailey did a great job as Claudia. To be honest, Bailey in real life looks a little bit of vampire to me anyway. So I feel like she did amazing with the role. Being a vampire trapped in a little girl's body was very hard for Claudia. Claudia was trying to find friends, trying to find a mate, even a boyfriend at some time because she was grown, but in this little girl body that she couldn't do nothing with. So she gets more like darker and darker as, season 1 keeps going. To the point that Claudia is completely sick of Lestat and what he been going on with. She over it. So she plots a plan to unalive Lestat. And she looking at Louis, either you're in or you're out. What's up? At some point, she was like the little sister / daughter to him, and then became like his sister, companion at some point, like telling him like, bro, what's going on with you? Come on, think straight, And Lestat couldn't read their minds like everybody else, so it was a perfect, relationship for them two. So by the end of that season, when they unalive Lestat, Claudia literally writes his last words in his own blood. She wasn't playing no games. Then she left. Meet me over there in part 2 so I can finish this Claudia series. What's up, chat? Welcome to part 2 of my Black Vampire series, and this is Claudia part 2. So I wanted to do a part 2 because there's 2 actresses, and I think they both did an amazing job. This hasn't been done since, My Wife and Kids, or Viz with the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Anyway, chat, this hasn't been done for a while, but it actually turned out really well, and let me tell y'all why. So y'all notice how Louis telling the story, and he's seeming to forget how events went. And the interviewer is actually helping him. It's almost like therapy, helping him remember. The interviewer like, wait, that couldn't have happened. So of course his depiction in his mind of Claudia, and this happened probably hundreds of years ago, is different. Like, for example, do you remember exactly a story and how exactly it went at 5 years old versus how someone told you went when you were 5 years old? So of course Claudia seemed more innocent, more cute, and more cuddly, even as a vampire in season 1. So season 2, this is how she realistically looked and behaved, more like Delaney. And season 1, she was more like Bailey Bass, And when I tell y'all, Delaney ate? Y'all was worried about her as a replacement. When I felt like she held it down, might even be if she held it down a little bit more. Like, what? I done forgot she was a little girl and everything in this movie, how she was talking. Like, she's a great actress. When Delaney was in that theater and said she had an announcement for everybody and she wanted to say one last thing, and she said, hey, sir, you in the hot, do you mind taking your hat off? And before I go, I want to say, if there is an afterlife, I'm going to hunt and haunt every single one of you. If there isn't, I'm still going to figure out a way. Y'all, chat, tell me the lady did not eat. That whole scene. Tell me she didn't eat, bro. And she was just like Louis, but just like in a different vibe. She wanted family, she wanted love, she wanted all these things as well, just like him. But she wasn't willing to lie down and roll over for it. And I know y'all be in my comments and chat, oh, I love Louis, because y'all don't care for my Louis slander. It is not even Louis slander. I just wanted him to stand up for himself. So this next season, he better stand on business, y'all. I know a lot of twists and turns are coming. I know Akasha is coming back into place since Louis is back in his life. There's a lot going on, Chad. But Claudia, being an abomination, how they said, she held it down. And honestly, that vampire coven never messed with her anyway. They never liked her. One, she was black. Two, she was an abomination. It was not allowed to have children or crippled vampires. That this is their rules, not mine. And she was always really sassy at the mouth. Not to mention, this is Europe, y'all. So shout out to Kirsten for passing the torch. Cause y'all too, I'm scared of y'all when y'all grow up. Y'all gonna be forced to be reckoned with. All right, chat, let me know what y'all think about Claudia, and I'll see y'all in the next vampire series. All right, bye, y'all. Hey, and don't forget to engage from the bottom up, like, comment, and follow. If you like videos like this and you want more like this, drop in the comments who y'all want next. All right, I'll talk to y'all later.